Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to SpineCare with Dr. Rowe. So if you're over the age of 40 and you're starting to notice a lot more aches and pains, definitely check this video out. I'm going to go over 3 essential exercises that are going to help keep the back and hips strong, mobile, pain-free. That way we can have a better quality of life as we age. These exercises work by strengthening the main muscles associated with lower back and hip pain. And when you put them together, they form a really good workout that you can use daily or 2 to 3 times a week. If you find that they're a little bit too challenging, just pick one exercise to do a day, and with each day, do a different exercise. Throw some variety in there. Just do what you feel comfortable with. With that being said, let's get started. So here's a really good exercise that's going to target more across our back side, focusing on strengthening the lower back, glutes or buttocks, and the hamstrings on the back of our thighs. For this one, we're just going to lie flat on our back in bed or on a floor. Have your legs roughly hip width apart, knees bent, feet flat. Let's start off by bracing our core muscles. It's kind of like when somebody pokes in your stomach, how you draw your belly button towards your spine. Just lightly engage those muscles around the core right here to help protect the back. I also like to make sure that my glutes are engaged, so I just lightly clench my butt cheeks and hold it during this exercise. Once we've done all that, let's take our hands, put them off to our side for support. So let's dig our heels into the floor or the bed and then slowly press and lift our hips upward towards the ceiling. The goal is to get your body in a straight line from your knees to your hips to your shoulders. If you're unable to get into this position because of weakness or pain, like you can only go up an inch or 2, do the best you can. Just try to engage these muscles, and hopefully over time you'll be able to get into this position. You're going to feel a ton of muscles start to fire across the core, your lower back, your butt, and your legs. Let's hold this comfortably for about 5 seconds, release it, take a breather, and then repeat this 10 to 15 times. And with each repetition, try to build into it just a little bit more. If it feels like you have a little bit more energy, always challenge yourself by throwing in another set or 2. But to take this one to the next level, make it more challenging and engage these muscles a little bit more, we can throw in some more movements. The first being what is called the marching bridge. It's very similar to that first position. The only difference is we're going to take one leg off and then lift that knee up like this, taking it towards our chest. As you do this, you're going to have all that weight on the other side, and it's going to be a lot more challenging. My best advice with this one too is to try to keep your hips level. So if you feel like you're tilting like this, do your best to make sure everything is in balance and level across your hips. Hold that just for a second or 2. Release it, and then repeat this on the other side. So just like a nice marching motion for about 10 to 15 repetitions on both sides. To target a little bit more into your hips, you can do what is called a clamshell. So if you actually have a lot of pain in your hips or across your pelvic floor, give this one a try. What we're going to do with this variation is put our feet together and then press them down, our heels, into the floor until we feel a light activation across our hips. From here, we're going to take our knees and just press them down to the floor as much as we can until we feel a really good stretch forming on the inner part of our thighs, working towards the groin into the hip. Once we feel that, we're now going to press and lift our hips upward towards the ceiling. When I do this one, I usually feel it a little bit more on the outside of my hips, really targeting those glutes. Let's hold this for 5 seconds, release it, repeat it 10 to 15 times, but again, you can throw in another set or 2. The last one is called the hamstring walkout, and this one is going to target the back of your thighs. This one is going to be a real leg burner. So I like to get back into my original position of having my legs roughly hip width apart, knees bent, feet flat, but this time around I really dig my heels down into the floor. Let's lift up like this, and now what I'm going to do is slowly walk out, taking baby steps with my heels until pretty much I straighten my legs and my butt touches the floor or the bed. You are going to feel those muscles, those hamstring muscles on the back of your thigh really start to scream with this one. So give it a try for about 5 repetitions. To make it more challenging though, try to throw in another set or 2. So let's move on to an exercise that is a perfect complement to that first one. This is going to target a little bit more across our front side, especially with the deep core muscles, those muscles muscles that help hold us upright, but they're also going to target the hip flexors right here on the front of our thighs. So when you put the first and this exercise together, you get the best of both worlds. We're going to start on all fours on a floor. The first movement is slowly straightening one side's leg. To make it a little bit easier, keep the top of that side's foot flat on the floor and just slide it away from you like this. I also like to point my toes away as much as I can. As you do this, you're going to feel a deep stretch form in your calf muscles that works upward into your thighs, into your hip, and then finally into the lower back. Really focus on feeling it into the hip and the lower back. Once you do, hold that position and now slowly raise your leg upward like this so it's roughly in line with your body. And with this one too, don't try to raise your leg up too much because that can put a lot of strain in the lower back. Definitely don't want that. Just make it to the point where you're lifting up, feeling a really deep activation, comfortable activation of those muscles, and then hold this for about 3 to 5 seconds. You're going to release it and now repeat it on the other side. Do this one nice and slowly for about 10 to 15 repetitions, and with each repetition, try to build into it just a little bit more. If it feels like you have a little bit more energy, always challenge yourself by throwing in another set or two. But if you would like to take this one to the next level, we can do a couple different things. The first being lifting the other side's arm up like this. So I have my right leg back, left side's arm going forward. If you have a lot of weakness, especially in your core, you're probably not going to have much coordination doing this, and your body is going to start to wobble. So do the best you can to maintain this position for 3 to 5 seconds, release it, and then repeat it on the other side. You can also do what is called the hydrant, which is going to target the buttocks, the glutes a little bit more. So for this one, I just raise my leg upward. When I release it though, I just lower my knee down, have it bend at about 90 degrees. Don't let it touch though. Just let it hover about an inch or two above. At this point, you're going to swing your whole body to pretty much look upward towards the ceiling. So I'm going to swing that knee upward and also look upward at the same time. You know why we call this one the hydrant. You're going to feel a deep activation across your pelvic floor into your hip. Build into this one as much as you can. Hold it for about 5 seconds. You're going to release it, and then you're going to repeat it on the other side. With all of these movements, you may find that one is just a little bit more challenging, like it feels like it's really weak. At that point, treat it like your weak link and keep building into that movement over and over again until it feels like you got a really good workout. So now let's turn our attention more towards strengthening our leg muscles. That way we can make everyday activities like walking, getting out of a chair, going up and down stairs a little bit easier to do. And one of the best exercises to do is what is called the wall sit. You can do this one at home, even at work. All you need is a smooth wall. To get into position, we're going to start with our feet out in front of us, and we're going to lean our whole body weight into a wall for support. You want your head all the way down towards your tailbone, flush against that wall. From there, we're going to have our feet a little bit wider than our hips, and we're going to point our toes out slightly, about 5 to 10 degrees. It'll help take tension off the knees. From there, we're going to lean back a little bit more, place all of our body weight towards our heels. Once we've done that, now it's very straightforward. We're just going to sit or squat our butt towards the floor. The more that we go down, the more that we're going to feel a deep activation into the leg muscles, but focus on feeling it around the hips, targeting the glutes. Once you feel that, hold this comfortably for about 5 seconds and then drive back upward like this. Take a breather if needed, but try to repeat this about 10 to 15 times, and with each repetition, squat down a little bit more to target those leg muscles. Afterwards, see how you feel. If it feels like you have a little bit more energy, at that point, throw in another set or two. So let's take this one to the next level and focus a little bit more on our calf muscles. So what we're going to do is what is called an eccentric calf raiser. We're going to start by turning around and facing that wall that we use for the wall sits. Let's get pretty close to it also. You're going to place all of your body weight right onto the balls of your feet, and you're going to drive your heels straight up towards the ceiling. Go up as much as you can until you feel a deep activation into your calf muscles. At that point, you're going to hold this comfortably for about 5 seconds, and then you're going to slowly lower your heels back towards the floor, but resist against your body weight going up and down to target the muscles as much as we can. I like to do this in both directions about 5 times, but if it feels like you have a little bit more energy, challenge yourself by throwing in another set or two. So let's take this one to the next level by throwing in some more movements to create that eccentric calf raiser. It's pretty similar, but what we're going to do instead of going straight up and down is lean our body weight towards one side and then lift up. So go towards the right, hold that, go upwards towards the middle, towards the left and then slowly lower your heels back down. It's like creating a big circle with your heels. So I like to go in one direction about 5 times, and then from there I switch it up in the other direction and then repeat. The nice thing is with this movement, you're probably going to find that one certain position, like for me going towards my left, it just feels like it's a little bit more weak. Maybe you have a lot of muscle tightness too that you feel with that movement. At that point, treat it like your weak link and keep building into it over and over again until it feels like everything is loosening up, or it feels like you got a really good workout. If the exercises help, please support the channel by giving this video a like and maybe subscribing too. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.